Hello, and welcome to How NCAA Division I football and basketball players prioritize athletics in college. My name is Jesse Langer. I serve as an assistant dean of students at the University of St. Thomas in St. Paul, Minnesota. St. Thomas is a mid-sized Catholic PWI institution located in the Twin Cities. Currently, St. Thomas competes as a Division III institution. However, starting in the fall of 2021, St. Thomas will make the transition to Division I competition. The research I'm about to present is partial findings from my dissertation research titled Cognitive Development of NCAA Division I Football and Men's Basketball Players, a Phenomenological Exploration. This presentation will focus on one major finding of the study, how Division I football and basketball players prioritize athletics in college. This study used a qualitative phenomenological approach consisting of one-on-one, in-person, semi-structured interviews. It focused on factors of student-athlete experience that impacted student-athlete development. The philosophical foundation for qualitative research lies in the belief that reality is socially constructed. Individuals create subjective meanings from their experiences by interacting with others in social, historical, and cultural contexts. These contexts influence how individuals interpret their experiences and assign meanings to them. Phenomenology is a qualitative research method that explores the meaning several individuals assign to a shared lived experience. Phenomenological research seeks to describe the essence of a specific human experience, what it is like to experience a specific phenomenon. A phenomenological account of knowledge must remain true to the experience of the evidence. I conducted in-depth interviews with 17 NCAA Division I football and basketball players during the spring, summer, and fall months of 2019. Participants attended and played football or men's basketball at 12 Division I institutions across the United States, representing 9 conferences, including 3 of the Power 5 conferences. Interviews focused on participants' college experience while participating in football and basketball at the highest intercollegiate level. I explored participants' day-to-day life as Division I football and basketball student athletes and their perceptions of its effect on their cognitive development. I coded interview transcripts and developed themes from the data to describe participants' college experience to convey a general essence of the NCAA Division I football and men's basketball college experience. As you will see from the slides, many of the slides are text heavy, and that is because the evidence that is provided in the study are the interviews and quotes themselves directly from the players. Unsurprisingly, athletics was the centerpiece to participants' college experience. Athletic commitments and responsibilities were prioritized before academics, impacting participants' college choice, what they majored in, and how often they attended class. Athletics also influenced participants' self-identity. Their athlete identity and commitments often conflicted with their academic identity and responsibilities, including their college choice, classroom experience, and academic major choice. Some participants discussed their athletic responsibilities becoming repetitive and mundane, temporarily decreasing their motivation. Participants' athletic identity influenced where they lived, with whom they interacted, and how others interacted with them. Also, each participant's favorite college memory was directly linked to their student-athlete experience. The first sub-theme that was found was athletics and academics conflicting. They conflicted on participants' college choice, their experience in the classroom, and also whom they lived with. Participants' athletic and academic commitments and responsibilities often conflicted, impacting their college experience, autonomy, and intellectual development. Many participants identified athletics as the primary reason for choosing which institution to attend and whether to transfer institutions while in college. Athletic commitments influence participants' classroom experience by impacting their academic motivation and classroom attendance. Athletics also influence participants' academic major choice in college. Athletics was a major factor for participants when deciding where to attend college. Factors like coaches, facilities, and athletic program reputation impacted participants' decision and influenced their college experience. Many participants experienced a coaching change while in college. A coaching change was an immediate reason to consider transferring to another institution. Athletics, among other factors, was a major influence in participants' decision to stay or transfer institution, influencing their college experience. Athletics was the most influential factor for participants who discussed their college choice. Kevin put it this way: I would say the biggest thing is just what was going to be the best fit for me was the transition from high school football to college football. Was that going to be too big if I went to a bigger school or a smaller school, things like that. There were some factors of academics that went into it, but when you're getting recruited to play football, you're there for football. The biggest thing I remember is I didn't want to go somewhere that I was just another number on the roster. I wanted the coaches to know my name, other players, everybody to know you. So that was kind of the bigger factor going into it. Athletics was a clear driver in Kevin's college choice. Being recruited to play college football for Kevin meant his college choice would be where he benefited most as a football player. His college experience was shaped by athletics before deciding which institution to attend. Kevin's college experience was significantly influenced by football before he decided which institution he would attend. The most significant factor in his college choice was his fit on the football team and his transition from high school to college football. Coaches, facilities, and being known by name on the football team were also important factors for Kevin's college choice. Academics were a factor, but football was the primary reason for choosing which college to attend. Football, not academics, was the central factor for shaping Kevin's college experience. Multiple participants experienced a coaching change during their college career, which caused significant dissonance about whether to transfer to another institution. Frank considered transferring to another institution after the institution made a coaching change. He said, probably one of the most important decisions was the decision to stay here. During my time here, we had a lot of different coaching changes. There was a lot of hard times, honestly. I had a lot of different opportunities if I wanted to transfer to go to different places. Losing a coach was a significant experience for Frank. It was difficult. It's kind of like losing your father in a way, because that's kind of what a coach is. I'm away from my family, and they're kind of like my new family here. Frank's athletic experience significantly influenced his overall college experience and his college choice. Multiple participants experienced coaching changes during their college careers. Athletics, academics, and non-athletic career opportunities were considered. Participants took a more holistic approach when deciding whether or not to transfer institutions. Athletics also had an impact on participants' classroom experience. Exhaustion from athletic commitments affected participants' learning and influenced whether they attended class. Traveling for away competitions, early morning workout sessions, and practice schedules made it difficult for participants to stay focused and motivated academically. However, participants developed strong time management skills from balancing athletic and academic commitments, positively impacting their autonomy. G recalled struggling to attend class after returning from road trips. He put it this way: I remember definitely the most significant times are like after you get back off the road. You get back in at 2 or 3 in the morning and you got an 8 a.m. class. I just remember all my roommates. I lived with 3 other guys and everybody is kind of going through the same thing, and you walk in the hallway and you're like, are you going? If you're going to class, I kind of have to go to class. I can't be the one not there. I really did not enjoy being in class a lot. That was probably the biggest thing from a discipline standpoint, because it was important for me and for our team that guys didn't get punished for me not going to class. But yeah, definitely after road trips was always the toughest. G considered multiple factors when deciding whether to attend class. All of them were athletic factors. If we had practice, if I thought it was going to be a hard practice, if I felt I needed an hour or something like that to nap, if my body was feeling up to it, G said. Sometimes you just want to lay there in bed. G's exhaustion from basketball commitments impacted his motivation to attend class, his academic experience, and ultimately his college experience. Early morning workouts also impacted participants' focus in class. Smith recalled being tired for a class he had right before team workouts. The one I was in last year was usually right before workouts, so I was kind of sleepy, and then I would have to rush home and eat really quick before going to work out, Smith said. So yeah, I just remember being tired. John recalled going to class right after his early morning workouts. I'd usually be coming from working out to practice, and I'd be tired because I'd been up since 5 a.m. or whatever it may be, John said. Noah talked about falling asleep in class after his early morning workouts. I remember being really bored and falling asleep half the time. We had some other teammates in there who, whenever I wasn't asleep, I was goofing around with them, Noah said. I feel bad about taking advantage of that situation, but it would be right after we had lifting, Noah continued. We used to lift at 5:30 in the morning, and that was an 8 a.m. class, so it was like I'm going to be sleepy in that class. Participants were tired from waking up early in the morning for athletic workouts. It caused them to be less alert in class, impacting their academic experience and overall college experience. On the other hand, participants developed strong time management skills, while attempting to balance athletic and academic responsibilities. It was a lot of work, Frank said. I had to balance those courses with football too. People in the class were struggling, so it was even worse for me because I had to balance that with 5 hours of football a day. Frank managed his time well to stay caught up with academics. Grant discussed his struggles balancing athletics and academics. With the early workouts, early practices, and then study halls, school, and the crazy schedule in classes, I really had to buckle down and get my time management better. Sam also discussed the necessity of effective time management. For a student athlete, our free time is definitely at a premium. You don't get a whole lot of free time in your day, and you need to really learn how to have a good time management skills. Balancing two large commitments, athletics and academics, forced participants to develop strong time management skills. Athletics also had an impact on how athletes chose their major. Athletics had a significant impact on how participants chose which major to study in college. The academic commitments, academic rigor, course schedules, and extra exam or class requirements of some majors discouraged participants from pursuing majors they wanted to study and shaped their major choices. Athletic commitments were generally prioritized over academic requirements for some majors. This influenced participants' academic college experience, their autonomy, and the direction of their intellectual development. Testing requirements for an actuarial science major required too much time conflict with basketball for Bradley. With playing basketball, I realized taking actuarial exams would be tough to focus on because they required 100 to 200 hours of studying for each one, Bradley explained. So I looked into that, but then I realized statistics was pretty similar, but you don't have to take those exams. Bradley chose a statistics major because extra exams required for his original actuarial science major meant too much time away from basketball. This decision affected Bradley's academic college experience and autonomy. G had a similar experience. At first I was in graphic design, and then I had to change majors because there was so much art stuff that I had to do in graphic design that I just didn't really have time for with basketball. G's basketball commitments did not allow him to pursue his original major choice of graphic design. This decision affected G's academic college experience and autonomy. Mike was forced to choose between a major he wanted to study and basketball. I came in wanting to be a sports psychology major, and a lot of our sports psych classes are at night, and because of that, we practice in the afternoons. Mike said, it came down to, did I want to miss a lot of practices in my first year, or did I want to switch my major? Mike continued, I talked to my parents, I talked to my coaches, and I ended up switching my major to sociology. Mike's basketball commitments were a higher priority than his original major choice of sports psychology. His decision to pursue a sociology major instead affected his academic college experience and his autonomy. Some majors' academic rigor influenced participants' major decision. Although there was a bit of stress I feel on me with deciding on exactly what I wanted to do, Doug explained, I don't want to do anything too hard or that I'm not going to enjoy because I still want to focus on football. Doug continued, I need to focus on my school because if I don't do well in the classroom, I can't play my sport. So why would I not just pick something easy? Doug did not choose a challenging major because he wanted an easier path to remaining eligible to play football. This decision affected his academic college experience and his intellectual development. Noah decided on his major for a similar reason. Choosing my major, I wanted to choose something that wouldn't be too overbearing, but would give me the knowledge and support of my future career. My major is business marketing. It was kind of the easiest load, Noah said. Noah chose a business marketing major because it presented the least amount of academic rigor to support his career after college. This decision affected his academic college experience and his intellectual development. Noah and Doug both discussed a perceived inability to choose more rigorous majors because of their football commitments. A lot of football players, when they come to school, they either choose kinesiology or business marketing or youth studies, Noah said. One, because kinesiology is a little bit harder, but business marketing and youth studies, those are the easiest majors. Doug said, that's why you get so many guys picking a major they don't actually want to do. They just know it's going to be easy. It's rare to find a guy who is on scholarship who's actually testing himself. At least that's what I've noticed out of my friends, which I understand because it's stressful. Football commitments were a priority over choosing a rigorous major for Noah and Doug. This affected Noah and Doug's academic college experience and their autonomy. Some participants talked about their sport becoming a job. Multiple athletic commitments became mundane and repetitive, resulting in a temporary decrease in their motivation. Adding academic commitments to participants' schedule made their college experience much more challenging. Also, exposure to coaching changes or athletic restructuring taught some participants that they are part of a business enterprise, something that shaped their college experience, self-identity, and autonomy. Sometimes playing Division I basketball can feel like a job, a grind, or just something that you have to trudge through, Bradley said. You're going to hit a lot of walls, Alex explained, especially playing college sports. There's going to be times where it's not going to be fun anymore. A lot of people will tell you growing up, when it stops being fun, you should stop doing it. But Alex motivated himself through these difficult times. If you said that about any other job, which that's what college sports is, it's a job, you would think that that's the worst employee you've ever interacted with. If the second their job stopped being fun, they quit. The long and repetitive commitments of college sports can pose mental and physical challenges for college athletes, impacting their college experience. Participants also encountered the student-athlete stereotype from faculty and other students. They were stereotyped as dumb jocks and assumed to be in college to play sports, not to learn in the classroom. Playing college sports carried a stigma that participants were less intelligent or complicit with actions of a teammate other than Playing college sports carried the stigma that participants were less intelligent or complicit with actions of a teammate or other student athletes. Participants' experience with the student athlete stereotype shaped their self identity, impacting their autonomy and affecting their college experience. Noah talked about his experience with student athlete stereotypes and how he tried to break them. With football players, stereotype is that you had if you had one in your group, they wouldn't do any of the work. I would try to break that stereotype. Many people used to give me some feedback and say, "You're one of the hardest working students in the class who's a football player." And I was like, "Yeah, I'd like to break stereotypes." Noah continued. Stuff like that would kind of get annoying in college, but I used to just work as hard as I could and try to break those stereotypes. Noah was actually aware of how others treated him when they knew he was a football player. It motivated him to work hard to prove people wrong. This impacted his autonomy and self-identity. Mike encountered a different version of the student-athlete stereotype after some teammates were accused of sexual assault. Just having to deal with all the flack from the other students, Mike said. You'd walk through campus and wear your basketball gear all the time, and that was not going to fly because you were going to get looked at, heckled. Teachers weren't very happy with you, Mike explained. We had done nothing wrong. The ones that were still here had done nothing wrong. We weren't even out that night. I remember calling home a lot and just being like, this is not where I need to be. Mike's encounter with the student-athlete stereotype negatively impacted his college experience and autonomy. He felt unfairly targeted as a person. Alex accepted the student-athlete stereotype before he even went to college. In high school, I didn't really try, Alex said. By the time I actually stepped into our high school, I already had a D1 offer. So my mentality was that I don't need to try that hard. I've already been accepted to college, Alex continued. I didn't do math homework once my whole 4 years in high school. I'd kind of be embarrassed, I kind of embraced and tried to be the funny, make fun of myself for being dumb. It also had a negative impact on his self-identity and autonomy. Athletics also had an impact on participants' living situation. Most participants lived only with teammates or other student athletes during college. Participants benefited by forming closer bonds with teammates and building larger student-athlete networks. However, living only with teammates and student athletes limited their exposure to non-athlete students. This impacted participants' self-identity, autonomy, and college experience. Frank lived with teammates each year of college. I've lived with probably a different person every year, Frank said. With a lot of the coaching changes that we had, there was a lot of turnover in players, so toward the end of my career, there wasn't a whole lot of people left in my class. I had a new roommate almost every year. I got to meet a lot of different younger kids on my team that way, through living and stuff like that. Frank was also surrounded by mostly athletes. In terms of the people that were around us, most of the time I lived in almost all athlete dorms. Well, they weren't all athletes, but mostly, Frank explained. So you got to connect with people from other teams, and when they opened the new complex, we were all around each other more, so we got to know each other that way too. Frank said he did not spend much time around non-athletes. I don't think I really connected with a ton of just normal students that way, but it was more just getting to know other athletes. Frank lived exclusively with teammates and lived around mostly other athletes. He was isolated from interacting with non-athletes at his institution. This impacted his college experience and self-identity. Kevin and Smith also only lived with teammates. Kevin said, I lived off campus. I had an average of 4 roommates, and there are 5 of us. They've all been teammates. Smith had a similar experience. We're all teammates, so we kind of have to get along, Smith said. Living together is like being part of a team. You've got to clean your shit take care of your stuff and clean your stuff, and then just kind of help out where you can. Kevin and Smith spent a lot of time with their teammates. Mike lived with teammates and other student athletes in an athlete village. I lived with a teammate, and then I lived with the men's soccer player, and I currently live with a baseball player, Mike explained. I was able to meet all the soccer team last year, and I'm hanging out with all the baseball guys this year, so just building a bigger community. Mike enjoyed building a larger social network of other student athletes. This impacted Mike's college experience and self-identity. Not all participants lived exclusively with teammates or other athletes. Bradley lived with a teammate his first year and then lived with non-athletes after that. Chris also lived with a mixture of teammates and non-athletes throughout college. However, he prioritized living near the athletic facilities. Bradley and Chris had more exposure to non-athlete students than other participants in their living situation, impacting their college experience, autonomy, and self-identity. Finally, every participant asked to describe their favorite college memory, describe an event directly tied to their athletic experience. It was clear their athletic experience was the centerpiece of their college experience. No participant discussed a memory around non-athlete friends, classroom experiences, experiences abroad, with student clubs and organizations, or any other part of the college experience. Their athletic experience was the most powerful and formative influence of their college experience and their self-identity. Bradley described his favorite memory of making the NCAA tournament and playing in a game that were up by 2 for 30 seconds left. Came down when they came down. They had a shot to tie it with 3 seconds left, and they threw it in from half court, sending them to the next round of the tournament. He says, "I remember that moment. Me and the guys, we thought we were going to overtime, and then when you see that shot fall in, we're all celebrating. In the back of my mind, it's like, this is on national television. We just pulled off a huge, well, not huge upset, but we're underdogs and we beat this team." It was his first ever NCAA tournament game, and he remembers all that coming together with his hard work. It was very incredible, and Bradley's most cherished college experience, or college memory, I'm sorry. Kevin's favorite memory was definitely winning national championships, because you see where all the time and hard work that you've done throughout the whole summer and all the off season, you see it pay off. Kevin said, then you're experiencing it with the guys that either you live with or you've been with for the majority of 5 years. It's pretty special, probably because those relationships make it a little bit more special. Winning multiple national championships was the centerpiece of Kevin's college experience. Tying it to his relationships with his teammates indicated it also had a significant impact on his self-identity as a student athlete. Mike's favorite college experience was similar. We won the conference championship last year for basketball, and just watching that video from CBS and our team's video and stuff, just because I pretty much blacked out. We were up by 1, and the kid takes a 3 in the corner, and it just clangs off the back rim. The next thing I know, I was in the dog pile, and that's the last thing I remember. I've had to watch that to relive it over and over again. And the first thing that I remember also was my parents right behind the bench. There was about 4 minutes to go, and we were up by 8. I look at my mom, and I'm just smiling ear to ear because I came to a Division I school to play in the NCAA tournament. It's the only reason I wanted to do D1. I wanted to play in the NCAA tournament. And realizing I was that close and then have it almost taken away at the last second, the hug with my parents after the game was just intense. It was amazing. Playing in the NCAA basketball tournament was the showpiece of Mike's college experience. Tying it to his relationships with his teammates and his parents reinforced his self-identity as a student athlete. Athletics had a clear impact on participants' overall college experience, self-identity, and autonomy. Athletics affected participants' college choice, their classroom experience, and what major they chose. Athletics sometimes became repetitive and mundane, decreasing participants' athletic motivation. Athletics impacted where participants lived in college, how they interacted with other people, and how people interacted with them. Finally, each participant's favorite college memory was directly related to their athletic experience, significantly impacting their college experience and solidifying their identity as a student athlete. The current study's findings have several implications for higher education professionals who work with student athletes. First, college admissions professionals should understand the significant impact athletics has on student athletes' college choice. They will likely focus on the athletic department's reputation, athletic facilities, and coaches when making their college choice. Student athletes will consider other factors, but athletics will be the prioritized factor. Second, student athletes tend to live with teammates and other student athletes. This potentially limits student athletes' friend group and exposure to non-athletes, which can diminish their identity and development. Higher education professionals should consider where and with whom student athletes live on campus in an attempt to increase their exposure to non-athletes and increase their identity development. Next, athletic administrators should carefully consider the academic majors of their student athletes to identify any trends. Student athletes feel pressure to meet eligibility requirements to continue playing, which altered the academic major choice and course load for participants of this study. Academic schedules are not altered to accommodate athletic schedules are not altered to accommodate academics. Academic majors and course selections are altered to accommodate athletics. The inability to study one's desired discipline sends a message to student athletes that athletics is more important than academics. This message influences how they prioritize their time and effort and therefore formulate an identity that prioritizes athletics over academics. Finally, athletic administrators should consider student athletes' day-to-day and week-to-week schedules. Athletic identity is reinforced before student identity when student athletes expend their physical and mental energy on athletics before and in lieu of academics. This study found participants did not expend exhausted energy toward athletics, they expended it toward academics. Further, student athletes do not miss practices, games, team meetings, and training sessions for academic commitments. They miss classes and review sessions for athletic commitments. One might argue their physical and mental motivation to achieve academically is used up by their athletic demands. Student athletes will continue to be motivated as athletes before students as long as institutions send the message that athletics are valued more than academics. This message is reinforced by their athletic schedule, workouts before classes, practices before homework, the source of their scholarship, athletic, non-academic, the priority course and major selections has after athletics, and the priority class attendance has after athletic schedules. Thank you for taking the time to listen to the partial results of my study. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. My email address and my office phone number are here on this slide. Thanks again.